Do you think that people in the United States generally think about those who are different from them in a positive way, or are they intolerant of those who are different from them?
Definitely negative way against other people.
Why?
Because they just think sometimes they don't belong here, and that starts a lot of problems.
I judge people very particularly. If they look different, I usually judge them.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know if they're different from me. I don't know, it's just the way I was raised.
People stick to their own cliques.
People try to keep themselves in one certain group and then don't worry about the other group.
It balances itself out. Some people are intolerant, some people are accepted of other people. Not everyone has gone over the past, I guess. And some people are still racist.
Maybe they don't find a way that they could relate to them. Like, they rather hang out with people that are more like them.
I think they're intolerant of those different for them.
Why?
Because, I think they, get jealous of what other people have and they don't have it. And it's, puts them down in a way.
Because I guess they get jealous.
If people's different from them, I think they feel a little feared because they don't really understand their culture, maybe. But I think they should accept them.
I feel like everyone's different in their own unique ways, and that's a good thing. To be different.
As a whole, I think the American society kind of looks down on those that are different from them. And personally, I think that's really wrong and stuff, because I'm a firm believer in believing that everybody comes here, we're all from all around the world, and that we should all look at each other as equals and stuff. But I think they look down on them because, I don't know, they're afraid of something different, afraid of different people, afraid of different cultures, afraid of things different than what they're used to. They're afraid to step out of their comfort zone and really get to know people that aren't like themselves.
As Americans, we are more diverse in our communities than nearly anywhere else in the world.
With our cities and towns expanding to accommodate new immigrants from all over the globe, we are continually being exposed to different cultures and tastes.
The diversity of our country is reflected in commercials and music videos printed on billboards and in magazines.
Even in schools, diversity is celebrated with bright posters on classroom walls.
Social studies topics center on it, and diversity-based clubs are available to students as extracurricular activities.
But as the teens on the street all seem to agree, we still have problems.
We judge others because their skin is not the same shade as ours, because they speak a different language or dress in a certain way.
Often, we are prejudiced towards a group of people, loudly or subtly. We may not show them the dignity and respect they deserve as children of God.
And for many of us, diversity is just a colorful advertisement without real meaning, or an agenda that makes us self-conscious about being who we are.
Diversity. That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Jess.
And I'm Jack.
And this is Realfaith TV.
Coming from a variety of backgrounds, most of the teens in the street saw modern America as having a negative perspective on diversity.
We'll talk with them more a little later in the show, as well as meet our studio guests.
But first, let's meet our spotlight guest, Reggie, whose parents immigrated to the United States from the Philippines.
And hear about how she struggled to be accepted at school and to accept herself for who she is.
Teenagers today are a lot more accepting because in our generation, it's not that different to see different colors, the people different types of cultures. It kind of sounds a little weird, but even if I don't really know them, just being of a different race or different culture, different color skin, you kind of have that connection on a personal level just because you know where they've been, you know what they've been through, what their parents have been through. The friends that I have are really accepting. They really don't see me for the color of my skin. They see me for who I am. I'm just Reggie. They don't say, oh yeah, that tan girl, that Filipino girl, they don't look at me like that. As growing up, there was a few times where I was oh, I wish I was white or but I tend to grow into it. I've looked past that because I wasn't really happy at that time. So it's better for me to be more accepting of myself. This sounds kind of strange, but when I used to, bring in my lunch when I was younger, I wouldn't have, that little paper bag or the cool little zipper bag with your sandwiches and stuff. I'd come in with a regular bag and Filipino food, which kind of smelled strange to other people, and they'd come in little Tupperware. Sometimes they spill. When I was younger, I kind of wish that my mom would pack me, those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and those juice boxes and stuff, because I thought it was kind of embarrassing. Sometimes I didn't even like to eat my lunch. I kind of leave it there and just pretend like I ate it. But nowadays, I eat weird foods. I eat my Filipino heritage food, and my friends, they come over, they eat it with me, they like it. But now, I think it's better that I'm happier that I'm actually more accepting of myself, and I'm more comfortable to like share, offer things to my friends even though they're a little strange looking, and if they turn it away then I'm like, all right, that's fine. Because also with my other friends who are also like colored, they also have like weird strange foods, and I'm always open to those kinds of things.
You know, I have a similar story to Reggie. You know, I had a friend who came straight from Albania, and you know, when he first got to my high school, he was kind of a little nervous about his culture and everything too, and he had the similar situation with the lunch. You know, he'd come in with these weird Albanian sauces and everything, and these weird fruits, and we'd kind of be like, what is that, you know? But, you know, by junior year, he started to become more relaxed with it and everything and accept it, and you know, he'd be handing out the food and everything to everyone else, and you know, he eventually got to accept it and everything like Reggie did.
Yeah, my friend Luthien, she's from the Philippines, and I remember the first time I went over her house. They were making like the Filipino food, like Reggie said, and I could not stand the smell. And I'm like a really picky eater to begin with, so I like would not eat the food, and I was like, no, I'm not hungry, and I said I already ate, and finally my friend Lauren tried it, and she managed to convince me to try it, and I actually ended up liking it. So, you know, it's just like, it's so easy to make judgments when we don't even know. Well, let's meet our studio guests and see how diversity and acceptance factors into their relationships.
They are Vince, Ziad, Ijama, Katie, Gina, and Mark.
In your experience, has it been easy to start up and keep friendships with those who are different from you?
I think that it doesn't really matter, like, if someone's different from you or not. It shouldn't matter, like, if they're ethnic or, you know, if they're from a different culture. You know, as long as you can relate to them, that determines, you know, how your friendship is going to work out in the end.
Yeah, I agree. Especially since I've been in a spot where I've been the outcast. Ever since that experience, I've been able to, like, befriend anybody from anywhere.
I also think it's easy because you can learn a lot from them about their culture and what their backgrounds are and where they've come from, and that can really help you to learn who you are as a person.
I've also had, like, I have all different friends. I have friends, like, from Dominican Republic, from Guatemala, from here, from Italy, everywhere. The only time maybe I've had, like, trouble making friends was just because, like, maybe people, like, some people are really closed about, you know, being friends with other people from different places.
I think it gets easier the older you get. Like when I made friends with some, you know, people from, you know, different races, it broadens your horizons a lot. So, you know, your worldviews are, you know, very broadened up.
I believe that you should look for common interests and try and look past, you know, the color and the creed and things like that, and then take that into account later so you can learn from them.
In my case, it's always been, I'll be friends like a bunch of people, and then someone will say, how are you friends with them? They're like so different. And I'm like, wait, really? Like, I don't even notice it, you know? So I guess it just comes down to, like, the question, how do you feel personally about people who are different from you?
And that's what we ask the teens on the street. How do you feel personally about people who are different from you?
Let's check it out.
How do you feel personally about people who are different, meaning that they're not the same as you in religious belief, culture, ethnicity, or language?
I think everybody's the same, whether they're religious, they're not religious, they're pretty or ugly.
I like people that is different than me, because it, like, you could teach them things you know, and they could teach me stuff too. So, like, I like having a mix of, like, people I chill with.
I really don't care. We're all people. Like, I could still make a bond with the people. It's like, I just have that, like, friendly vibe.
I'm a very, like, accepting person. I personally don't treat anybody different because of their culture or, you know, what they believe in or anything like that.
I don't know. Sometimes I judge them good and sometimes I judge them bad.
I usually socialize with people that are, like, same with me or have something in common with me. Or if they don't, then I really don't, like, bother.
I accept everyone. I think it's all about personality and the person inside.
I have no problem with them. I enjoy, like, seeing the varieties of different people, diversification in the community.
I feel that it's cool.
It doesn't bother me as long as their attitudes are good and they respect everybody else like we respect them.
It brings everybody's culture, makes everybody more expand yours and get accustomed to other people and what they're doing, so I think it's better.
Do you think it's a challenge to see every person as an individual rather than as a part of some ethnic or racial group?
Do you think of people of certain races or ethnicities as being better at some sport or skill than people of another group?
When we fall into this trap of prejudiced thinking and stereotyping.
It only leads to distrust and misunderstanding.
Next, Reggie talks about how some intentions can easily get lost in translation.
And how ignorance and jealousy can blind people to the beauty of others.
A lot of people get lost in translations, and sometimes they misinterpret different things people are trying to say, like the message gets mixed up. When my dad first arrived from the Philippines, he worked for a company, and he was like moving boxes and stuff, and the guy was talking to him, and he was like, "Hey dude, you want to move that over there?" And my dad, thinking that dude was like dud, you know, like, which means like stupid guy or something like that, he was like, "Hey, you never call me that, you never say that to me again." And the guy was like, I was just asking you to move a box, like, calm down. But I think, like, even if you do get lost in translation, that if you're more comfortable with yourself, then you'll be able to, you know, communicate. You're gonna meet people who are very accepting of you, of your differences, but then you're also gonna meet those few kinds of people that aren't as accepting. My sister went out with this white kid. He's all American boy, plays football. He's like, he's a very sweet kid, and like, I guess a lot of girls liked him. So when he started going out with my sister, they're like, "Oh, why do you like some Chinese girl? Like, why do you?" Oh, like, they'd like make faces at her, and they'd be like really mean about it, just because she was with the kid that everyone else wanted. But she was really hurt about that. But I remember coming home, and she was like crying and stuff. My mom was just like, "They're just jealous, you know, like, you're so, like, you know, pretty, you're so, you know, exotic looking." Like, they kind of wish that they were different, like that they stood out in some way.
I think it's sad that there's always going to be, you know, that group of people that is intolerant or, you know, jealous of people who are exotic or different, you know? Have you ever seen, you know, or witnessed people being intolerant or acts of jealousy against people of another culture?
I think, like you said, when people come to a school when they're new, like when they join a high school and they show up from another country and they're new, people are generally intolerant in the beginning just because they don't know how to react to that. They've never really seen people from other countries, haven't talked to them, and they don't really know how to handle that kind of situation. So I definitely think that there are times when people are intolerant in the beginning, but can generally warm up to people.
Like during, like, after 9/11, I have like friends who are from like India and like the Middle Eastern countries, and like, since that happened, people started like making rude remarks, saying that they did bombs and stuff like that, like ignorance like that, like, especially when they're not even from the country and don't get the chance to like meet them and know them.
In school, you witness people being intolerant to others. At one point or another, everyone is intolerant to, you know, there's people that do it like really bad or like do it all the time, or some people don't even notice when they do it. In the beginning, most people are like that, but then you warm up to meeting new people.
My friend, and like, I hate to say this about my friend, but in a way she's sort of prejudiced, and like, I was talking to her and like about how my other friend like likes this black boy, and she was like, "Oh, that's so weird, like, to see like someone who's white and someone who's black together, like, that just doesn't seem like it mixes right to me." And I was like, "How can you say that? You know, it's like, we've come so far and like you still like look at people in that way. I think that's weird." This other girl, she didn't want to like tell her mom that she liked like this Puerto Rican boy because she knew her mom like wouldn't like it like that. So I just think that that's sad that we're still in that like state of mind after we've like, you know, accomplished so much about like breaking down the barriers of prejudice.
At my school, it's mostly white kids or whatever making jokes and everything. Sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, "Look, guys, what are we doing? This is ridiculous, you know, like how intolerant most of the school is, you know?" So you kind of have to tell people to chill out every now and then. So yeah. I deal with that a lot.
I know, right? Like, I think that most of the time, people grow up with that. Like, maybe they got it from their parents or their environment is like that, so they're just used to, you know, being like that.
Well, I also think it's like people don't know how to deal with differences. You know, it's kind of like ignorance, and that ignorance kind of develops into hatred and jealousy, and those kind of things cause like horrible situations. It wasn't long ago that the Second World War broke out, focused particularly on the thinking that all people are not created equal.
Hitler's ideal world was inhabited by an Aryan race, a race of blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Germanic people with one language, one set of beliefs, and no tolerance for diversity of any kind.
This super race ideology claimed the lives of millions, and the humanity is still struggling to understand the senseless brutality that came from the mindset.
Further back in time, through many cultures and countries, was the practice of slave ownership.
This was not just in early American life, but in many countries around the world going back into ancient times.
It seems like part of the dark side of human nature has been to want to control others and to treat people who are different as being less than human.
We can see it in the persecution of Jews during Roman times, in the centuries of English domination over the Irish and Scottish peoples, and the ethnic cleansing that has gone on in Bosnia and Rwanda.
In India, a caste system still exists in some areas to segregate social classes, the lowest being offensively labeled the untouchables.
Even in America today, inadequate immigration policies have led to undocumented workers being treated without dignity or basic human rights.
We may not think that these examples apply to us, but when we treat anyone in a way that is disrespectful because of their faith or color, it leads us down the same path of brutality and ignorance.
So have you or your friends had difficulty being accepted because of your differences?
That's what we ask the teens in the street.
Let's check it out.
Have you or any of your friends had difficulty being accepted because you or they are from a different ethnic or cultural group than most of your peers?
Well, yes. Like sometimes, like around Seaside Heights, a lot of people are, no offense, but some people are racist because of Hispanics and stuff like that. But I really haven't had any problems or anything like that. So.
No, I can't say that I've had any trouble. Everybody I've ever met has been really accepting to anything.
No, never.
No.
Not really, no. I think we're all accepted.
No, I get along everywhere I go.
I'd say, yes, definitely. My friend, he came from India and he didn't speak English very well.
No English.
And everyone made fun of him. But then once everybody got to know him, he like fit in. But it just took a while, so he went through some problems.
Yes, definitely. I have a little Chinese friend that took a little while, to get in our group. But we all listen to him and he's the same, just like everybody else.
Not really, because in my school, there's like all different kinds of people. There's like a lot of like blacks, white, Spanish, everyone. So I learned to get along with everyone.
Do you think it's better to have like an ethnically diverse school or more like the same kind of people?
I think ethnically diverse because you learn to get along with all kinds of people, and it's like that in like the real world, so it's good.
I have plenty of friends like that. I try to keep them as close to me, try to keep them to feel the same way I treat my other friends, we all the same, like we got to bring everybody together.
Some of us take pride in not seeing skin color or religion or ethnicity. This can be a mistake too.
Treating every person equally with honor and dignity is essential, but so is recognizing that the unique contribution of each makes the world a better, richer place.
What can you bring to the human experience? What differences do you bring to your group of friends, and what makes them different from you?
Well, I'm originally from the Igbo tribe of Nigeria, which is in Africa, and I came here with my mom, my sister, and I was 2, and my first language wasn't English, it was Igbo, and coming to like a new environment, a new school where everyone spoke English perfectly was really hard for me, and like they teased me like how I spoke and all that, and like the way I saw things, like because they ate different foods, dressed differently from what I did. It made me feel like I'm doing something wrong, like I don't belong. So yeah, I grew up like that for a couple years, and then I went to like a new school, which is a private school, and there I met people who were from different cultures and different like backgrounds, and I learned from them. Like they're like now my best friends. They're from like India, places all over Africa, Europe, South America, and we both share like experiences. Like they all like went through the same thing I did. You're not like alone with it and anything.
From my perspective, I am Lebanese myself, and bringing in the differences to my friends, like in my school, it brought them a different like perspectives, and I make friends with all kinds of other people, like whatever color, race, heritage, whatever.
I went to a camp in which the main goal was to encourage people to accept diversity and to establish relationships with each other. And I, went back to my daily life during school year. I used those lessons and brought them to everyone I meet.
When I first started doing theater, I wasn't exactly a theater kid, so I didn't really fit in with them. But I find a lot of times the best way to handle it is to kind of look to the Bible, because there's a lot of good passages that, can help you get through that. Like 1 Corinthians chapter 12, which tells us a body is one, though it has many parts, and all parts of the body, though many, are one.
The Apostle Paul, who wrote this, was using a metaphor for the body of Christ, and it was a good one.
We can also use it to help us appreciate the differences in the people around us, what makes them unique, beautiful, and interesting.
What did your faith teach you about people who are different?
That's what we ask the teens in the street.
Let's take a look.
What does faith like teach you about people who are different? Does faith help you to accept people that are different?
Yeah, like, cause God wants us to all be one. So you know, He wants everybody to like be together. So yeah, faith brings us together.
That everyone's different, but we're all children of God, so we're all equal.
It basically teaches us that like it's a good thing, like that everybody's like all really one person. Like we're all kind of related. We're all brothers and sisters in a way.
Well, faith teaches me to accept everyone as they are. I actually get lectured by my theology teacher 40 minutes every single day.
It's the golden rule: love one another as, you know, I've loved you. So pretty much just treat everybody as you would like to be treated overall. So that's what I think my faith has taught me, and I try to live that out.
To treat everyone how you want to be treated, to accept everyone around you, and don't judge everyone.
My faith teaches me to accept all like ethnicities, races, anything. I'm just friends with everybody. That's all.
That everybody's the same no matter what color, race, language, everybody's the same.
Part of our Catholic faith allows us to express ourselves in ways that reflect the ethnic background and culture from which we have come.
We are in one human race. We are all created by God in the divine image of our Creator, and we have dignity and purpose.
Next, Reggie talks about how her faith teaches her that we are all one body.
And although we are all different, God has a unique plan for each of us.
My faith teaches me that no matter who you are, no matter like where you've been or who it concerns, that God will always accept you for who you are, and that like everyone is whole. Like doesn't matter who, like what color you are, that we are one body. Like God loves us all. It gives me more confidence to, you know, that I'm not gonna be worrying about just because I'm different, that, you know, God's not gonna let me into heaven, or just because I do certain things in my culture that aren't the same as like other people, that He's not gonna be so accepting. But knowing that He is, it gives me, you know, makes me more comfortable, makes me more confident. And I was afraid when I was younger because like I thought I wasn't staying true to myself, but I was also being pressured by, you know, like the rest of society to be, you know, like this little white Catholic schoolgirl, not offending to white people or anything because I like white people, but being like that, I was also kind of concerned because I'd act a certain way in school and then I'd come home and I would act a different way at home, you know, and like I started getting like confused when I was younger because I didn't know which person to be, but as I grew, like as my faith grew, as my family has become stronger, that I've learned to like, you know, like combine those together because I like both those kinds of people, but I also want to stay true to myself. So I think that combining those two people together has really like made who I am today. I think God has made each and every one of us like different, and we should accept that because He has a purpose for life. He has a plan for us. You are going to be more happy and more confident with yourself because you're not trying to be something you're not.
You know, I think in the end it comes down to not eliminating the differences between us, but accepting the differences. Because I think the more religions, nationalities, and creeds that we integrate into our own nation, it makes us stronger. You know, it gives us a better world. I think it's like colors. You know, like do you want just one color? If you're making a tapestry or something, you want just like a red one or a blue one. You know, no, you want like a rainbow. You want as many colors as possible to give you the most beautiful tapestry, and I think that's what it comes down to.
I think that the musical Avenue Q portrays it best in their song Everyone's a Little Bit Racist. They have a line that says, ethnic jokes might be uncouth, but you laugh because they're based on truth. And I think that line comes from how people are raised and how they become so biased against different races.
And also I think it's so fun to have like friends that are like different religions and from different cultures and everything, because you learn a lot from them, and you, in a way, like you learn to be a better person. And also, you know, that's what God wants. He wants us to be open and to, you know, to love everyone.
He loves you and He wants you to love everyone else, and you shouldn't be afraid to express who you are and where you come from.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I wasn't like just regular like old white girl. Like I wish I had like like had some ethnicity, or like I'm not even like Italian or like a big Italian family or something. I'm like, you know what I mean? I wish I like had a culture I could celebrate more.
Yeah, God says we're all brothers and sisters, and having a variety of friends to demonstrate all the cultures is the way He wants it.
And yeah, we really just need to be open and just be accepting of others and their cultures and hopefully learn from them.
During one of Pope John Paul II's visits to the United States, he encouraged minority groups to continue to be involved in their faith.
He said, "Keep alive your cultures, your languages, the values and customs which have served you well in the past and which provide a future for solid foundation."
God loves you all, without distinction, without limit.
Do you love others without distinction, regardless of their religion, race, or culture?
We'd like you to share your experience with us.
You can contact us at our website, www.realfaithtv.com.
Or you can call us at 609-406-7402. And we'll leave you today with this final thought.
When Jesus said, "Love your neighbor as love yourself," He meant all our neighbors.
Jesus himself tore down social walls to reach out to the women at the well, the tax collectors, the sinful and rejected.
His example is meant to inspire us to appreciate others for who they are and lead us to find the wondrous beauty in diversity.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time on
Real Faith TV.
God bless.